Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. You know me as Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the queen of feeling fabulous. And I have a wonderful show in store for you today. You know, it's very rare now that me and all my multiple personalities, get a male to come on the show. The last couple of years, it's been really dominated by the females. But prior to that, I used to have a lot of male guests, and I love having male guests on the show because, hey, they've got a lot of wisdom that they can share with us as well. And so, as you know, I start the show with this: find a place to sit, get something to write with, big pen, piece of paper, your favorite beverage. Today, I'm drinking tea in my Golden State Warriors cup, trying to bring them some energy and some luck. And while you do that, let me take care of business. I want to thank our first sponsor, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. They are a wellness, wealth, and They are a wellness, wealth, and wisdom company focusing on helping you to transform your life so that you can have and live the life of your dreams when you have all 3 of those pillars in balance. Now, we're coming up in the summertime, and they have some specials with regards to if you're looking to get your body right so you can wear less clothing and not be embarrassed or shy about what you got going on in your body. You want to check them out. They got some really good things to help you really accelerate your well-being holistically and naturally. And they have some events coming up that you definitely are going to want to partake in, virtual events. So go to www.blissfulliving, the number 4, the letter U.com, and get the goods on what they got for you. Now, the next sponsor is All Day Cable Incorporated. All Day Cable Incorporated is a telecommunications installation company focusing on installing voice data, fiber optic cabling, and all things network distribution so that when you make the connection with your customers, you make that connection right the first time. They've been in business since 1990, and they serve small, medium, and very large corporations. So if you're in the need for a phenomenal premier telecommunications installation company that's woman-owned, then I highly suggest you check out All Day Cable at alldaykableInc.com. So now we took care of business. Let me tell you about my guest. His name is Patrick Boylan, and Patrick is a skilled multi-instrumentalist and co-founder of MuseFlow, a groundbreaking music EdTech platform often called the Duolingo of Music Education. Frustrated by the limitations of traditional music education, Patrick began exploring self-directed practice, which reignited his passion for music and led him to focus on sight reading as an engaging learning tool. MuseFlow teaches bite-sized skills through sight reading, allowing students to master new concepts efficiently and enjoyably by focusing on reading and playing music at first sight, then applying those skills to songs that get unlocked. Oh, I love this. Patrick shares his insights on learning and EdTech, inspiring parents, teachers, and self-learners to help students and themselves achieve flow state through MuseFlow's unique approach. And so with that, I'm welcoming my fabulous guest, Patrick Boylan, to the Blissful Living Podcast. Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Hey, doctor, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm fine. You can just call me Rochel Marie. That's
Are
fine.
you sure? Come on.
Yeah.
It's an
Yes.
honorary.
I'm just that, type of gal. So
all right, Rochel.
So now, Patrick, I love what you're doing. And I really want to jump in because our topic today is music, self-education, art, technology, and neuroscience. And so with all of this that I shared about you in the opening, can you share about the pivotal moment that inspired you to start experimenting with sheet music and how that led to the creation of MuseFlow?
Yeah, when my teacher retired, I took 8 years of private lessons, and I hated every second of it, right? It didn't work for me. And so I was really frustrated with it. My teacher retired, no fault of my own. I was a terrible student, but my teacher retired after 8 years of these lessons. And I then went back to my parents' sheet music. They had a bunch of musical theater scores that were just hanging around the house. And so went back to my parents' sheet music and I pulled them out and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn something today. Right. And so I go through note by note by note, moment by moment, and I just play these scores verbatim. Right. And I found a little motif that I really enjoyed and I pulled that out and I was like, cool. I kept repeating that. Right. Kept repeating that little phrase. And then I closed the sheet music, and what I started doing was improvise around that phrase, putting it in so many different contexts. I put it in the right hand, I put it in the left hand. I flipped it, like I literally inverted it, right? I changed the tempo, I slowed it down, I sped it up, I played it in different keys, I played it in different time signatures. I grouped them in 2s and 3s and 4s and 6s. Like I changed the actual fabric of it. I was like, wow, that was really, really cool. All the while improvising in all these different musical contexts. I was like, that was really, really fun. It was very creative too. And so much better than just playing these rote songs, these boring rote songs that I had to learn during lessons. And so I kept doing that for years and years and years. Right.
So now what
And
musical instrument were you playing?
this was piano. This was piano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so did you ever take lessons, just out of curiosity?
I did. I took the I played the clarinet. I sucked at it, but I liked it. But my kids, I had put them in piano lessons. And what's interesting between the two, male and female, the male, they both played really good. The male was very diligent, practice, but my daughter hated to practice, but she was really like good too. Hated to practice, but when it came time to perform, oh, that girl was like the performer, whereas my son was just he's just methodic, right? Methodically did it, played well, but she performed, she put a little sass in it when she was playing. But yeah, no, I'm not musically challenged. So, but I love the fact that people play musical instruments. I wish I would have been able to stick with it. Maybe here's the thing, I really wanted to be a drummer.
Ah, okay. Yes.
But my mother was like, oh no, I'm not going to be hearing all that noise. I ain't got money to buy all the drums and stuff. And so she's like, we can go to the music store and rent the clarinet and you can play that. And she goes, and there were some very famous people that played the clarinet. I was like, all right, since I couldn't play the drums. But I think in another life, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be a bad drummer like, oh my gosh, what is her name? It is Carlos Santana's daughter, or Sheila E., the percussionist. So anyways, I'm digressing, but I think it's so cool when people play music. And what you did, how old were you when you did took that synopsis? And
I was like maybe 14, 15, right around that time.
So you're probably a musical genius and you just
no.
I
I wouldn't call it that. I just I don't think I think I might have a predisposition to playing instruments. I'm also a clarinetist, but I don't think I'm prodigies and genius. Cool. That's great. But I know a lot of prodigies or musical geniuses that never really fostered their creativity. They thought they were too good. And so they got to a point where they were playing very, very well. They succeeded very, very well. But because they had never cultivated the skill, they were never able to raise above that plateau, that threshold that they kind of leveled at. So, talent can be a crutch. And I think sometimes people rely too much on innate talent. I think fostering that creativity is even more important. Nature versus nurture, right? I think the nurture of that talent is even more important than innate talent itself.
Wow. Oh, we have got to take a break. We'll be right back, you all. Stay tuned to the Blissful Living podcast. We'll be right back in just a few. All righty, we are back and we are having a wonderful conversation with Patrick. And so my next question, Patrick, is could you explain how MuseFlow MuseFlow's approach to sight reading and skill building differs from traditional music educational methods?
Right. So the traditional ways of teaching is here's a new skill that your teacher tells you. It's a new note or a new rhythm or new technique, whatever it may be. And then they give you a song or two to go home and practice for that week that
Mhm.
utilizes that skill, right? And so I did that for 8 years, hated it, didn't like it. I thought I was learning, I felt like I was learning these skills in isolation inside of
Mm.
each one of those songs. I wasn't able to apply that new skill to all the other songs that I wanted to learn, right? And so I realized that when I was doing this sort of like iterative, this like improvisational, unique trying to take those little motifs and then improvise around them, I was learning those little phrases so much better than if I were to explore them or experience them in just one song. Because when I saw that new motif, that little phrase pop up in another song, because music repeats itself all over the place, cross genres, right? I saw that little phrase pop up in all these different songs. I was able to play it verbatim because I had embedded that phrase in all of these contexts. So
Mm.
I was like, huh. So I'm out here in LA. I'm a pianist. I have 3 reoccurring gigs, and I gig around town all over the place too. I play for auditions. And I'm able to sight read. I'm able to actually play music that I've never seen before to a fairly proficient degree because I had done this sort of immersive improvisational way of like, I did that for years, right? Where I just kept improvising around these little bite-sized chunks, right? And now I'm able to actually replicate those phrases inside all these different songs. I'm like, huh, maybe there's a way to teach that way, where
Right.
instead of teaching the skills inside one song, what if we were able to teach the skills that are needed to play an instrument outside the contexts of songs? So
Oh,
that
wow.
when you saw a song that utilizes that skill, you then can apply it because you had explored it outside the context of one situation. You were able to explore it in all these other situations, a multitude of explorations, right? So that you really embodied the kinesthetic, the literal physical understanding of that skill, because playing an instrument is it's kinesthetic, it's very physical,
Right.
right? So you need to
Right.
kind of embody those skills, right? So I was like, well, my engine of my curriculum was improv. It was improvisation. It's hard to teach that way. I don't know how I would how able to like port that over into an app. But what we decided to use was sight reading, the act of reading music at first sight. So with the advent of technology, we're now able to give you all this music that never repeats, is always changing, and it's at a very specific level, very specific difficulty level, right? So we give you a new note or a new rhythm or a new concept like harmony, right? We literally give you a
Mhm.
concept of harmony at level 16, right? And we say, cool, here's music that never repeats. It's always changing. It's always, and you have to play that as the cursor goes across the screen in time, right? With the metronome, you play it, you're exploring that new skill outside the context of songs. And then once you've perfected that skill in music you've never seen before that never repeats, you then can go apply it to songs that get unlocked, right? And so that's the core concept of MuseFlow. That's how we do it, right? We've written 10,000 phrases of music and we've gradiated them from levels 1 through 26. We teach those bite-sized skills with new notes, new rhythms, and then we give you that music that never repeats at that very specific skill level, at that very specific level of difficulty. And then once you've mastered that new skill, songs get unlocked. And so that you can then go apply those skills to songs, right? That's the general
Wow. Wow.
concept. Yeah.
Wow. I've got so much more questions. We got to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back to the Blissful Living podcast. All righty, we are back. It's the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson. I'm talking with Patrick Boylan, and we're talking about MuseFlow, which he has created. Now, what I want to ask you is, do you teach students, or is this a program? How do you work with those that come into your world to learn what you have to share through MuseFlow?
It's a web app. So you just use Chrome or Edge on your laptop. You go
Oh,
into our
cool.
website, museflow.ai, and you sign up for the free trial, and it's right there in the browser. We're using a game engine called React, so that we're building out the app itself so that you can go to the Google Store or the Apple Store. This is going to come out in the next 3 to 4 months, so that
Mhm.
you can actually download it onto your device, your tablet, or your phone. So we're building it out so that it's more universally accessible, because right now you have to use your computer. Okay. And you have to
Right.
use what is called
Right.
a MIDI compatible keyboard, which basically is just a keyboard that can jack into your laptop. Okay. So
Right.
what we're doing is 3 to 4 months, the app is going to be available to download on all platforms. You'll be able to use your tablet or your iPad or your phone, and then you'll be able to set that on your keyboard. We're also making an audio recognition algorithm so that instead of having to jack in your keyboard to your device, the device itself will actually listen to your keyboard. So you can use it with your acoustic piano, your grand piano, your upright piano, whatever you may have, or your keyboard, but you want it to jack it in. So yeah, right now it's just through the web. It's through a browser. Chrome or Edge is what we recommend.
And so is this specifically for like pianists, keyboardists, or if me, not a clarinetist, but
Well,
if I wanted to pick up.
yeah, we can teach you how to play piano. We can teach you how to read sheet music in 7 minutes. We can teach you your first note, 3 rhythms, both hands, in 5,
Oh,
and
wow.
you get right on into playing. So within 10 minutes, within 12 minutes, you're playing your first note in time with a metronome. As the cursor goes across the screen, that one note is repeating between both hands with 3 different rhythms that are always changing. It's always adapting, always, adjusting. So that, yeah. And then we slowly but surely build you out from there. We add another note in the right hand in the second level. We add another note in the left hand in the third level. And then at the third level, songs get unlocked. You get 5 songs at level 3, right? Then you can actually go play those songs. And then the fourth level is another note. The fifth level is a new key, new time signature, so on and so forth. We add rests at level 15. We add harmony at level 16. We build you out slowly but surely. Level 26 is the end of unit 1. And you've got 14 notes, 4 rhythms, 3 time signatures, and you're moving, and harmony. We would call it polyphony, right? Polyphonic, multi-notes. And so you're
Right.
moving across the keyboard all over the place. We want to build this out for all common instruments. So stay tuned for clarinet. Give us another maybe 1.5 to 2 years, and we'll have it for clarinet. We want to do it for drums as well. We think drums are going to be actually going to be very easy to make, because it's only rhythm. It's not pitch.
Right. Right.
So it's going to be it's going to be fairly easy to kind of port over what we've made already into a drum curriculum.
Now, do you plan on marketing this to, music teachers, both private as well as, in the higher level esteemed educational aspects that we have here available to us today?
Yeah, we've got 4 private teachers that are using this right now. They're using it with their students. We give them all progress reports of how their students are doing, and they're doing great. It's really cool to see how different teachers are using it. It's very interesting. We have not yet successfully got it into an actual institution yet, but we are working on getting it into high schools, colleges, elementary schools, especially, ones that have keyboards already set up and tablets already there. They have the actual technology that's available. There are universities and high schools that have that technology available. So yeah, the goal is to revolutionize music education from the ground up, because this is simply a better way to learn. It's more engaging. It's more fun.
Wow.
It's more effective, because you're not learning the skills inside the context of just one song, right?
Right.
We're teaching you the skills to play, and then you can go apply it to all the songs that use that skill.
I like that.
It's just we're adding another step before songs that's very engaging, very fun, and very effective. That's the goal here, is to show the world that in an institution that has been steeped in tradition for thousands of years, there's no other way to teach how to play an instrument. There was no other
Right.
way, because we never had this ability to adjust music on the fly and never repeat itself, right?
Right. Right.
And so now
Right.
that we have that, there's 100% a better way to learn. And so that's all we're doing.
Wow.
We're just introducing that to the world.
Wow. What this is going to be a game changer. I think, you know, I would suggest that every elementary school out there in the US and abroad, look into this technology, because when I first picked up that clarinet, I was in the fourth grade. And, you know, I think okay, that was way back, way back, in the 70s, but early 70s. But, had this technology been available, I think maybe I would have been able to stick with it, because it wouldn't be so restrictive and regimented. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, here's the book, these are the notes, play, go home, practice. Come back, let me hear you play what you were supposed to practice. Oh, you sound horrible. You still stuck on this page. Go, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And what you got is a aspect where the student, such as someone like myself, can actually learn these things, see how I'm evolving, and understand, and in real time, see I'm evolving, and then add little pieces, a little bit more each time, so that I'm actually getting the gratification of, yeah, I'm actually learning, versus I suck and I need to keep practicing the same doggone song over and over
Absolutely.
again. Yeah, I think and I think, kids that are musically inclined, are gifted. They're really smart kids. And I think we don't appreciate it as much as we should when they're young like that. Of course, you always have those little musical genius proteges that, stand out. But for the average kid like me, when I was growing up, had something like this been available to, one, stroke my ego and, the pleasure side, I probably would have kept going, right? Because I could see my evolution, versus even if I had to play the same song over and over, I could see the evolution. It would change in real time. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, we got to take another break. We'll be right
Okay.
back to the Blissful podcast. I'm all into this. Woo! Okay, we'll be right back. All righty, we're back. We're black, yes, I am. And we're back to the Blissful podcast. This is the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, with Patrick Boylan. And I'm loving this conversation. And I have time for just one more question with regards to what you're doing with MuseFlow. Someone that's deeply involved in EdTech, where do you see the future of music education heading, as we transgress into this millennium, I should say, even deeper?
Well, I hope it turns into something more personalized, right? The goal with MuseFlow, the way that we're building it so far, is to be able to understand the patterns within your playing and give you specific music that challenges the issues that you're personally having, right? We're building out the
Right,
program so that we can recognize maybe you have an issue with this one interval between these two notes and in a specific rhythm, okay? Maybe it's a
right,
quarter note and then a half note. You got a problem with that for some reason, right? We'll be able to recognize that you have an issue with that. And then we'll give you music in the sight reading trainer. We'll give you more music that exercises that specific rhythm between those specific notes more often than other meta skills that you're learning, right? So that through exposure therapy, you increase your proficiency on that specific skill so that, once you get better at it over time, because that's inevitable, if we're going to be exposing more of it to you, it's inevitable you're going to get better at it. Then we decrease the what do you call that? Decrease the exposure of it so that it's at
right,
parity with all the other meta skills, and it's, more musical at that point still. So the goal is to become very personalized, how are you personally doing? And then adjust the music based on that, right?
right,
That's what I hope music education moves into, and that's what we're planning on doing. Give us 3 to 5 years and it will be that personalized. It's just kind of inevitable the way that we're building it, right? We're training an AI right now to be able to find those patterns because there's billions of patterns within your playing. All the intersectionality of rhythm and pitch and harmony and duration, like all of that. There's so many different combinations of issues that you may have that we wouldn't be able to codify that. We wouldn't be able to say like, oh yeah, okay, if this person has an issue between these two notes, great, give them more of those specific notes. That's great, but then we would be missing so many other intersections of skills that we wouldn't be able to do it properly and do it justice, right? So that's why we're using a little bit of AI to do that pattern recognition. Yeah, so that's what my hope is that music education and education in general just becomes so much more personal and so much more personalized because there's so many different ways that a human learns. And we've unfortunately standardized everything.
Right.
And I just wish it became more personal because I didn't succeed in school. I was a solid C and B student. Okay. But the reason why I didn't work is because I have like a decent amount of ADHD and I learn very differently. I learn through audio so much more than I do through reading a book. Okay. So if there was a possible way of being able to truly listen and digest that information more than reading a book, I would have succeeded so much better. That's just one example, you know?
Yeah. You know, people do learn different ways. People learn by reading. Some people learn by doing. Some people learn by listening. Some people do learn by a combination of those that I just mentioned. And I think we really do a dissatisfaction to the student because we treat all students one particular way, and all students are taught one particular way. We don't dig in to find out, okay, is this an auditory learner? Is this a doing learner, physical learner? Is this somebody that reads? Is this somebody that needs a combination of listening and doing, you know? And so I think when we can fine tune that, we'll produce a mass amount of brilliant kids that will be able to do a lot of different things. I'm going to share this, then we have to go. There was a very famous gentleman who played several music. He's no longer with us, and he was known as the Purple Highness. And then, yes, I'm talking about Prince. And so I had the pleasure, I was a huge Prince fan, had the pleasure of meeting him and just had a brief conversation with him. One of my friends was dating one of the band members in the time, and we were just all hanging out. This is when I was really young. And I asked him about his playing, and he said, you may hear me playing Purple Rain or whatever it is I'm playing, or some of his other songs, Dirty Mind. You may hear me playing that song and it sounds the same to you, but every time I play it, it's different. And I was like, but it always sounds the same. It sounds so good, and I'm vibing and jamming. And he goes, yeah. I go, well, yeah, I'm not musically inclined. I just want to dance and sing the song when I hear you. And he goes, yeah. He goes, if you ask any musician, they may play the same song and it'll sound the same to the audience, but every time they play it, it's a little different. And so you just solidify that. And I love this conversation. I got to bring you back because I want to know how it goes and how we can help you elevate, and get you out there so that every educational institution in the United States is like, hey, we need this technology for our students so that we can elevate them to the stratospheres of what is possible for them. And with that, I've got to go, y'all. I want to thank Patrick Boylan for being a guest on the Blissful Living podcast. I want to thank all of you for listening and tuning in and watching. Please share the show with everyone you love and care about. You never know what kind of wisdom we're going to be sharing with you during the show. And of course, subscribe to the show so you can get advanced notification of the guests, and you can have it on your calendar and be ready like, baby, I got to listen to the Blissful Living podcast for a few moments. Give me some time. But I also want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at blissfulliving4u.com and All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And until next time, I'm wishing you peace, happiness, joy, and some fabulous music to play into your life. Until next time, goodbye for now.